Black Lawyers Association President Nkosana Mvundlela joins us for more on this story. Nkosana, I appreciate your time this afternoon. So much to unpack. But let's start off with your thoughts on the key achievements and challenges highlighted in the 2022-23 annual judiciary report by the outgoing Chief Justice.
Thanks very much and good afternoon to your viewers. We have noted the report of the Chief Justice and we believe that that is a very informative report in order to guide how then is the judiciary going forward going to try and achieve all its targets. It's actually notable that they have achieved at least 11 out of the 13 targets. And we should be congratulating them on such a good job, given the limited resources that Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has actually alluded to at one stage. And also the incoming Chief Justice have indicated, I think, during an interview that given the resources, the judiciary would perform much better than it is doing now. So from where we sit as the BLA, we want to congratulate the judiciary for a good job done where they were able to achieve their targets, and hope that going forward, then they are going to be able to look at those areas where they were not able to achieve and see how they can improve it.
Now, what do you think contributed to the significant drop in the finalization rate of constitutional court matters?
Well, the Chief Justice says that should be, I think the part of the report says that could be investigated. It would be mischievous of me to actually second guess that part. We can't put our finger to it, given the fact that it is them who has identified that underperformance. It's not us as starting the discussion about whether they have achieved it or not. So we can only hope that they could improve going forward, because remember, particularly in criminal cases, you may find that people are sitting in jail when the Constitutional Court was going to find that they were not guilty in the first instance. So we believe that going forward, they would be able to work on whatever were the failures. But as for our position, we believe we can't second guess why they failed.
Okay, maybe you might have an answer for this, and that's around the measures that you might believe are necessary to reduce the backlog of criminal cases effectively.
Maybe the whole point may not be about only the criminal cases. The reality of court may be hamstrung by the fact that it is constituted in terms of the Constitution, and it has a limited number of justices that have to be appointed. So truth be told, I think earlier you may recall that there was a point when the Chief Justice wanted assistance from the retired justices. And we actually raised a very serious issue with that, because it was an issue that the Constitution did not provide for. Therefore, the Constitutional Court justices cannot do anything that is outside of the Constitution. So that gives us an indication that it may be that part of the problems could be the fact that they are 11 judges all in all, and they are not going to expand themselves in order to cover the heavy load that South African courts are producing in order for them to adjudicate upon. Maybe it's about time, and this is just our view as the BLA, that maybe it's about time we looked at a possibility of proposing a constitutional amendment in order to have more judges at that constitutional court, not only for this part, but also to deal with many other issues that may arise, some of which are even sitting before the justices now. So I believe that it could be a multi-pronged approach of ensuring that that court has more judges than it has now, so that we are able to make sure that our people have access to justice. Remember, the failure to adjudicate those matters is tantamount to a denial of access to justice. And as the BLA, we stand on that side that says access to justice is a no-brainer. Nobody should be denied access.
Now, just how much do you think that they should be capacitated, Nkosana? And the reason I ask is because a few months ago, the former Minister of Police, Cele, talked about an arrest of somewhere in the region of 500,000, if not more, of individuals. And that's a huge amount that need to be processed through the system.
But remember, all those arrests do not start at the Constitutional Court. They start at the Magistrate Court. Maybe the question should be whether the magistrate courts are processing the matters as they ought to, and to what extent are the convictions or the non-convictions, the acquittals rather, of all the other courts, magistrate courts, high courts, the SCA, whether doing their work are making the work of the Constitutional Court easier. Because all the cases that are at the Constitutional Court have gone through the process in the system. So these arrests that former Minister Beceli was talking about are processed at the Magistrate Court. There is an outcry even at that level of a lot of people of backlogs. The Department of Justice recently has been talking about backlogs and has been talking also about people who are sitting in jails, unable to pay bail, even if it was minimal. The Director General of the Department of Justice at the event of the amendment, the proposal for amendments for the criminal act, was dealing with this kind of issues where all of them had to be dealt with broadly within the ambit of this situation. So to that extent, it would have been required that those cases are processed at the Magistrate Court, and then when they get to the High Court, those courts must be able to ensure that the Constitutional Court does not get burdened by making decisions that may not be assailable when they go to the Constitutional Court.
Now, I'm obviously asking you to pull out your, to look into the future a little and talk to us about the significance of appointing Mandisa Maya as the first female Chief Justice, and what impact do you anticipate she will have on the judiciary?
Look, this is a very welcome development generally and specifically, and we take this opportunity to congratulate her on her appointment. We have already said on record that we have supported her throughout during her tenure at the SCA. We have seen the kind of work that she was able to do, the kind of progress she has put in place, the rules and measures that she put in place to fast-track the processing of the cases that some of which we may not be talking about now. But obviously, the processing of cases at the SCA then plays itself into the Constitutional Court in case people are not happy about the outcomes of the SCA. So to that extent, we believe that she brings with herself new energy. She brings with herself a process that we believe she can add more value and increase on the work rate of the judiciary, taking over from a workaholic like Justice Zondo. She would be able to say she's going in to find that the ground is fertile for her to do her job. But beyond that, the appointment of the first female justice marks an important moment in our country, having celebrated recently the 30 years of our democracy. Then we are sitting with the first female Chief Justice. It tells us that our transformation agenda is on course. It may be very slow, we may be complaining about it, but we can see its fruits, because sitting here, we are celebrating an appointment of a capable judge who is going to lead the judiciary into the future.
And finally, what additional steps do you think can be taken to ensure that the judiciary continues to improve and maintain high standards of justice in South Africa?
I think, in our view, the role of training can never be underscored. One way or another, we believe that continuous learning is a necessary evil in our society, and it must never be undermined. So, in our view, the more training is given to the judges of the high courts, and the more training is given to the magistracy, the better it will be for her to be able to say all the other divisions of the courts at every other level is functioning such that it makes the whole system work for the benefit of society, because this is a constitutional imperative that South Africa is a country of a rule of law. So you can't talk about a rule of law and then deny people access where they are going to be able to implement the very same principles of the rule of law. So we believe that she would do that better. But lastly, we believe that one way or another, she will be able to increase the work rate that she had put in place throughout dealing with the issues relating to gender in order to increase the number of female judges on the benches, both magistracy and in the high courts, and ensure that our transformation agenda is never derailed again. And thank you so much for us.
Nkosana Mvundlela, Black Lawyers Association President, appreciate your time lauding the appointment of the first female Chief Justice